Hi, it's Wendy from Sunflower Publishing, and I'm really delighted to announce this evening that I've got a wonderful guest, fabulous author called Lynne Shelby. I've just been on a blog tour for her latest book, which she's going to talk to us about. But the author stuff about Lynne, really important because of how you got to be an author. Really interesting. She writes contemporary women's fiction and romance, but she was first published when her novel, French Kissing, won a writing competition. I love stories like this. Anything is possible, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Um, and we'll hear a bit more about that later. But in the meantime, she's had a variety of jobs, from stable girl to legal administrator. But now she is in the enviable position she can write full time. She enjoys traveling and takes with her a notebook and a camera, ready for the next inspirational novel, I guess. And she lives in London. So welcome, Lynne. How lovely to meet you.
Oh, lovely to meet you too. Thank you for inviting me.
So, shall we start with the book? No, let's start with the writing. Let's go back further. Let's
Okay,
dig deep here, Lynn. So,
sure.
you've always wanted to write. I've
Yes. I
interviews with you since you were what, 14, 15?
Oh, I actually don't remember a time when I wasn't
Okay.
writing
Right.
stories.
Okay. Right.
Like when I was at school, I can actually picture the little green exercise books we used to write stories in. When I was 14, I actually sent a manuscript off to a publisher's. It was Puffin, which is a children's publisher here in England. And they didn't publish it, not surprisingly, because I was only 14. But a very nice editor sent me this gorgeous letter saying, "Oh, you must keep going," and all that. And I'm very glad I took her advice because several decades
Wow.
later, I did get published.
Yeah. When you look back now
Yeah,
to how this all happened,
yeah,
are you still surprised by the success of it all? Or, I mean, the writing competition, millions of people, thousands
yes,
of people enter
yeah,
writing competitions. And I
yes,
sometimes the jury's out on them, why should you pay? Well, I
yeah,
think you should because of how long it takes people to read
yes,
all the entries. So I
yeah.
think you should pay a nominal fee. But you entered this competition. It was a woman magazine, and
Yes, Woman magazine, yes,
yeah,
and in conjunction with the publisher, who sadly is no longer in existence, called
right.
Accent Press.
Yeah.
And I was just browsing on the internet as you do, and I saw they were looking for a woman's fiction slash romantic novel by an unpublished, unagented author. So I sent in the first three chapters, and I think it was in November 2014. And
Okay.
I sort of more or less forgot all about it because, as you say, there's so many competitions, so
Yeah.
many people into competitions. And I
Yeah.
think, you can't think, oh, I'm going to win because, how
No.
often does it
No.
happen? And then it
No.
was January 2015. I was at home alone and I got this phone call telling me that I'd won the competition. And it was an editor from Accent Press that
No.
called. And I mean, the poor woman, I absolutely screeched down the phone. I was like, in
Really?
fact,
Me?
yeah, quite, yes, yes. And anyway, it
Wow.
was very, very exciting. And then obviously the call ended. And as I say, I was home by myself and I thought,
Yeah.
who can I ring? Who can I ring? And my husband was at work. My kids were grown up. One was at work. The other two were at college and school. And I sort of thought, I can't tell anyone. And I started to think about friends. They were all at work. And then anyway, eventually the family came home to find me dancing around. Hey, I've won the competition. I'm going to be a
I mean,
publisher.
somebody has to win, but
Yes.
wouldn't you? I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
suppose, if you were giving advice to newbies, you'd probably say, enter as many competitions as you can.
I I would. I
Yeah.
know some of them you do have to pay. This the one I entered, you didn't.
No.
But I do think entering competitions, they usually have a word count you need to
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
to, and they sort of have a subject that you have to keep to, a lot of them. And I just think it's a very good way to hone your craft before you're
Absolutely.
published, you know,
So
particularly
from
when you
there,
get
you
time.
because you've won the competition, and
Yes.
presumably with this, it was it a publishing house or an agent?
No, the Accent Press was the publishers,
Oh,
but
was
they
the
did it.
publisher?
Yes, but they did it in conjunction with Woman Magazine, which is a
Right,
big
right.
magazine
So
over here.
from
Yes,
there,
yes,
you've got then a publisher. You've got a
yes,
publisher.
that's
So
right. Yeah.
what did they do with the rest of the manuscript? Did they,
Well,
you know,
that
change it? But I mean, it
yeah,
must have been a baptism of fire. What
I
would
mean,
yours?
I had to get it to them. I think it was by May at the
Right,
latest. And
right.
yeah, there was no big structural edit. There was a
Oh,
couple of
wow.
things,
Okay,
they wanted changed.
okay,
Like my heroine of that particular book, she's
okay.
24, I think. Yes, yes, 24. And they suggested, why don't you make her older? She could be about 30. And I said, well, if I do that, I don't think it's going to work, because as a 24-year-old, the things she does are quite understandable. As a 30-year-old, she'd be very immature and a little stupid to do the things, because you do change, don't you, from your
Yeah,
20s
of
to your 30s.
course, of
Anyway,
course.
I wrote this
Yeah.
whole sort of long email saying, well, I think this and they came back and said, oh, that's fine, don't worry about it.
Wow.
So they were very
Seems an
good,
easy,
actually.
not a baptism of fire, but an easy ride in,
Yeah,
to be
it was
honest with
very
you.
exciting, very exciting. Yeah. Mm.
So from there, so
Yes.
that's the first book. Did they keep the
Yes.
title, French Kissing?
They did keep the title French
Yeah.
Kissing, although it did get changed later, but that's another
Right.
story.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
and then from that, they sort of said, "Oh, what else are you writing?" And I sent them the next book that I'd written, which was called The One That I Want, and they said,
Okay.
"Oh yes, yeah, we'll take that one too," and another one. We have a two-book deal, which again was
How did this happen?
very, very exciting. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I
Yes.
love these stories because it's so hard for people now, isn't it? It's so
Mm,
hard for newbie writers. How can you get an inroad?
yeah.
How is it
Yeah.
possible? But a story like yours just gives that, I think you put on your website, dreams can come true,
They and they do come true.
which I think is one of my favorite Disney quotes, really. So from there, you've got two books out.
Mm.
Then what? So presumably you've still got the day job.
Yes, well, no, actually, that when I was when I was first writing the book, um, I didn't have I did have the day job, but I was made redundant in February 2014. And I just said I'd written for years, and I sort of thought, oh, this is a really good opportunity to really, really concentrate on my writing. And I was very lucky in that my husband was able to pay the bills.
Go
So
along with this.
I sort of said to myself, right, well, I'll try it for a year, and if I don't get anywhere, I'll get another job. And as I say, I was made redundant in the February 2015, and then in the January, sorry, redundant in 2014, and then in the January 2015, that's when I got the call. So, yeah, so 11 months, I just made it.
Wow. What did your kids and your husband think about this? I mean, you know,
Oh,
I know that family are always our staunchest supporters, aren't
yeah,
they? Yeah,
yeah,
it's wonderful, darling, wonderful. Everyone will
yes,
buy it, but then, your
yes.
family are going to say that. But what did it feel like actually putting a book out there and you out there? Were you confident, or did you suddenly think, oh my God, now I am vulnerable because I am out there? How did
I
that?
to me, it was in a way, it was very unreal. I'd wanted to have a book published for a long time, and suddenly it was happening, and suddenly you're holding this book in your hands, and it is just so exciting. And
Yeah.
my family were very excited for me. My husband, my kids were very supportive. They all got it and read it, and I signed it for them, which was rather fun. And yeah, they've been nothing but supportive the whole way. They really have, and friends as well were very supportive. Because
So,
sorry, go on.
yeah, no, no, go on, continue,
No,
go on.
I was just going to say that I hadn't really got any contacts in publishing or
No,
anything like that.
no,
And what I had done, I think it was 2013, so another year back, I
yeah,
joined the Romantic Novelists
right,
Association, who is the
yeah,
most amazing supportive organization for aspiring writers. And
yeah,
if anybody's listening who wants to be a
yeah,
romantic novelist, join the
totally,
Romantic Novelist Association, because they have this new writers scheme, which
yeah,
you basically submit a manuscript each year.
mm,
And then you get a critique on it, and tells you ways they think, or it's suggestions. Maybe
yeah,
you think about doing this or that. And both my that manuscript and sorry, French Kissing manuscript and the one that I want, they both been through the new writers scheme. So
wow.
and the advice was invaluable. It really was. Very sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, who's published this latest one? Because you just said you said have I got it written down somewhere? Who's it published by, the latest one?
Oh, that would be me.
You published this one. So
Yes, I
what
had.
happened to the original publisher then?
Well, the original publisher, Accent Press, I'd had three books out with them, and then they were actually taken over by Headline,
Right.
which is one of the big five. And I thought, oh gosh, are they going to want, you know? And they actually gave me, hang on a minute, one, two, three more books came out with them. And then I wrote a book that was slightly different in because the three books had been sort of holiday romance, really. And they said, oh no, that one's not for us. And I thought, oh well, put it in a drawer, it happens, doesn't it? We don't always get all our books published. And then I had this light bulb moment, and I thought, I could actually publish it myself. And again, through the Romantic Novelists
Yeah.
Association, I did know a lot of authors who
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
publishing.
absolutely.
In the last few years, it's become a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it was still a steep learning curve, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
has become a lot easier. And I think people are much more accepting of self-published books, because at one time it was, oh no, and people would only go for traditionally published. But these days, if it's a good book, people are quite happy for it to be self-published. So I thought, oh, I'll have a go. So last year I made my first foray into the self-publishing, indie publishing. It wasn't difficult, but it was, as I say, a steep
It's
learning curve.
navigating your way through it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
because obviously you have to format the book.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to decide where you want to publish. Is it go all the, there are different
Yeah.
online
Yeah. Yeah.
retailers.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon's the obvious, but there are others as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And it is deciding down to things like what type do you want, what
I know.
font, and
Yeah.
all that sort of
Who
thing.
knows?
Yes, quite. But I did find it, as I say, not easy, but I enjoyed it at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
When actually teaching myself to do it. And there's a lot of resources out there. There's online tutorials on how to publish your book and things like that. Um,
Now that you've done it both ways,
yeah,
would do you? It's something that I always talk about with authors, because I know that the ones that do have the publishers
yeah,
sometimes can't choose the cover, can't choose the title. The
yes,
editor, like you said,
yes,
change her name,
yes,
change her age.
yeah,
You have so much more control. Which
yes.
which route would you tell newbie writers to go down?
Oh gosh, now that's a difficult one, because both trad publishing and indie publishing, there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah,
As you
yeah,
say, with traditional publishing, you don't have much control. I mean,
No.
maybe really, huge authors, best-selling Sunday Times, whatever, maybe they have a bit more control. I mean, I was quite lucky because they did change a couple of titles, but I actually thought the titles that the publishers chose were better than the ones I'd
Yeah.
started out with.
Yeah.
And as I say, I never had a particularly heavy structural edit. I mean, it was mainly things like typos and and maybe you don't want a comma there, sort of things. So I was, which is not
I'm
hard.
lucky then.
So that was good. But a couple of the covers, ooh, I won't say which ones because
No,
I don't
no,
want to offend, I don't want to
I mean, I
offend my
know
cover artists, but
authors say yes, but the publishers, they study the lists every week. They know
well,
what else, they know what titles, they know
yeah,
about covers. So I mean, maybe you have to take a step back, think, okay,
yes, oh
we'll
yes,
take control then. But
yes.
it's interesting. I think, there's no one size fits all,
No.
really,
Oh no,
is
exactly.
there?
And also, although, well, no, my publishers did do a bit of publicity. Actually, Accent did quite a lot of
Yeah,
publicity. But quite honestly, I think, me and other traditional authors, we do have to do an awful lot of our
yeah,
own promo work. I mean, I spend a lot of time making graphics, which is, I
yeah,
mean, I enjoy it. I love making graphics.
yeah,
I
yeah.
really do. But it's all time when you can't be writing. So there's that. But then with your own self-published books, as you say, you do have the control. You can design your own cover, which is fantastic. I mean, I love doing that. Again, though, I am lucky in having the support of my family, who are much more computer literate than I am. And I was sort of trying to get the cover of
Yeah,
the latest one, Venice
yeah, yeah,
Summer, to
yeah,
fit.
yeah.
And I said, "Oh gosh, I'm never going to do this." And my daughter said, "Oh, let me do it, mother." And she's very good, so she sorted
But
it out.
moving swiftly then, great intro to the book then, because this is the one that I've reviewed. Gosh, there's a lot in here, isn't there? There's art, there's music, there's a gorgeous Italian,
Yeah.
Italian. I mean, just for those that haven't read it yet, can you give us a brief synopsis of
Yes.
the lovely Rose?
Yes. Well, Rose is an art conservator. She needs a new start after going through a bad breakup in England, and a friend of hers um, gets her the chance to have a job in Venice with a friend of his. Now, the friend, the Italian, he owns a palazzo on the Grand
As
Canal.
you do.
Wonderful. As you do. And he's hoping to open it as an art gallery, and he needs his art collection restored, which is why Rose goes out there. And of course, when she meets him, well, they don't get on at all at first. She finds him
No.
really insufferable, can't
Yeah.
stand the man.
And
But quite by chance,
he's got a palazzo.
I know that's disappointed to
We can
say.
allow him some
Disappointed.
haughtiness, can't we? A little arrogance.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, he is descended from the rulers of Venice, so he
Yes.
does. He's
Sure.
quite aristocratic. But anyway, so she manages to get lost in Venice, which is actually I think getting lost in Venice is the best way to see the city, just
Yes.
wandering around and absorbing it all. Beautiful place. Anyway. Quite by chance, she bumps into him and he offers to sort of guide her. Well, first of all, show the way back to the palazzo. And he said, "Oh, I should, guide you around Venice." And he actually apologizes. He said, "Oh, I've had a lot on my mind," which we
Yeah.
find out what it was
Yeah,
later.
what it is, of course.
Um, and I shouldn't, I was very brusque. I should have been, I should have been more welcoming. Anyway, she
Very
thought, "Oh,
magnanimous of him. Very magnanimous.
I think so." Anyway, she thinks, "Oh, I don't want to go round Venice with him," but she thought it's a bit churlish to refuse him. So they go out and he shows her beautiful Venice. And surprise, surprise, as they get to know each other, she finds he's much nicer than she realized, and oh my goodness, she falls for him. So where will they end up together? Well, it is a romantic novel,
It
so
is. Could this have worked? I mean, why Venice? Could this have worked in another Italian city? Where, take me back to where you started with this story.
well, I was lucky enough to go to Venice. It was a big birthday, and oh, let's celebrate by going to Venice. And I just fell in love with the place. I thought, oh,
Yeah.
So beautiful. I mean, I can remember now going. We were approaching it in the boat from the airport, and you just see it, the city. It's floating between the sky and the sea. It's just amazing. And I thought, oh, I really want to write a book here. It took me a while to get around to it because there were other books that I was writing, but I think. For this particular story, I think it does need to be in Venice because I mean
Yeah.
a lot of Italian cities are very, very beautiful, but there's a lot of things that happen are specific to that
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
Sort of things like the gondolas and
Yes.
just
Yeah.
that sort of thing, but also the history and of Venice and its particular history and the particular painting that Rose is restoring. It
Yeah.
all links together, and I think no, I don't think I could have put this particular
No,
story in
no.
another city.
The lovely thing about this, which is quite unexpected in a way, is that, Rose has given the task of restoring, they call it,
Yes,
don't they?
yes,
Restoring this particular
yeah,
painting. And and that's lovely. That's a lovely story anyway, because she's restoring it and but as she's uncovering layers and layers of paint
yes,
and stuff like that, you then cleverly, I think, masterstroke, take the reader back to the Venice of what is it, 1536,
that's right. Yeah,
and we get the narrative of how the painting
yes,
came about.
yes,
So
that's
we've
right.
got Rose's story, then we
Yes,
go back to Marietta's
yes,
story,
yes,
and there's love interests in both of
yes,
those.
yes.
What a, and then we've got Vivaldi in the middle somewhere. How did that happen? I mean, it's just lovely, Lynn. It's
Oh,
lovely.
thank you. I've always been very interested in art history, that sort of thing. I
Yeah,
did study it for a year at university, so
right,
it's
right.
a long time ago. And I mean, whenever I go somewhere, like Venice, I
Yeah,
like to go to art galleries and
right,
things like that. And and the history as well. My major at university was history, and
right.
I love the Italian Renaissance, all that stuff.
Yes,
Right? It's just
yes.
wonderful. And
You know,
it just sort of happened. I thought, as I was talking about this painting, I thought, no, I think we need to see more of it. And then
yeah,
I got the idea of what had really happened as to what Rose and her friends sort of
yeah,
think
yeah.
might have happened. Yes,
I think you just see the story as it unfolds, as Rose uncovers and the painting. You mentioned, I can't remember the name now, but I did look it up because I couldn't find that particular painter. Is that real? Did you make that
oh
up?
no. He's fictional. Yes,
Oh,
he's a
right. I thought, oh, well, what's
Niccolo.
this
Yeah,
painter? I
Nicholas
need to
Varno. Yeah. No, I made him up, but
find him
I mean,
anywhere. But I checked, I
he,
was trying to check him out to see if he was real. I thought, oh,
he's
lovely.
very much based on artists of the time. I mean, there's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the paintings I talk about with the dancing figures. I was thinking in my head of a painting by Titian
yeah,
and
yeah, of
things like that.
course.
Yeah, yeah,
The way that you describe things absolutely takes the reader in the present day to Venice and also in 5036. And when I'm doing my reviews, well, it takes me so long to do them these days because I'm highlighting bits of text that I want to use to say, look at this description. And I want to read this one out because it's just so lovely. This is Rose. The Vaporetto left the dock, sailing along the waterfront before entering a broad canal lined with grand palazzi, their ornate facades built right on the water. They were so exquisitely beautiful in different shades of terracotta, yellow ochre, pink, and russet that Rose gassed up the sight. And I think, I mean, so does the reader. So I think so does the reader, because you just know it's going to look like that, don't you? It
yeah,
will
yeah,
look like that on the
yes.
Vaporetto. And then when we go back to, we're transported back in time to the life of Marietta. And you change the tense, you change the
Yes.
wording, you change the vocabulary, you change the
Mm,
diction. You know,
mm,
you change so much of this to reflect the
yes.
difference in the two
Mm.
towns, which I thought was, again, another
Oh,
masterstroke.
thank you.
I'm in my bedchamber, sitting, old present tense, sitting by the window, drying and bleaching my hair in a pool of sunlight while reading a book of love poetry, when a servant brings word that I'm summoned to the portico by my father, Pietro Casarini, who is not to be kept waiting. What a lovely introduction. We know exactly that her father,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
she has to go. She's got to do what her father says. And that includes the
Mm,
way that her, not, don't want to give too much away, but that includes the way that her life is going to go. You know, father says
yeah.
to, she has to
Mm,
do that. Breaking out of that is
mm,
not an option. It's not an
mm,
option at all
yeah.
for a girl.
Mm.
Um, I likened Luca. To me, he had a Mr. Darcy about him.
Yes.
He
That's what
really,
I hope people would think.
he really did, because Mr. Darcy was this gorgeous, gorgeous, dark, handsome, broody looking guy. But then, and that was odd, because I thought, I'm doing my research because one of my
Yeah.
favorite books, obviously. I thought, hang on, Elizabeth Bennet, Rose Bennett,
Oh, yeah.
hang on a minute, we got the same
Yeah,
surname,
no, that was deliberate, but
wasn't it?
partly because I thought, oh, I mean, I did want Luca to be brooding, and I think
Yeah,
he is. I
yeah.
think he comes across as that. And I did want, I wanted to emphasize that Rose was a romantic heroine, and
Yes.
also. Bennett is a very English name, and
Yeah.
I wanted to make
Right.
her very English, as opposed to this new
Right.
world of Venice and Italy that she
Yeah.
finds herself in.
Well,
So,
no, I mean,
yeah.
with Elizabeth Bennet, when she sees him in his own surroundings, and the
Mm,
servants think he's wonderful, and his sister thinks he's the
yeah.
best brother ever, and it's that
Yeah,
kind of moment, isn't it?
yeah,
That
yeah.
suddenly Rose is seen, and also the sister in there as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted him.
Parallels here, Lynn, parallels.
I think the way he behaves towards his sister is sort of indicative of the fact he's not as terrible as Rose thinks he is. And also, I like the parallels between the present and the past. I like the fact that Marietta also has a brother. I mean, one
Yes.
time I have
Yeah.
Rose say, "Oh, well, I hope Marietta's brother was as kind to her as Luca is to Gianna." And I kind of enjoyed finding parallels between the present and the
Yeah.
past. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine. And then we move on towards the end of the book, where we have a beautiful masked ball. I mean, for anyone that has never been to Venice for the Carnivale,
Mm,
it's something else. It's
mm,
completely unreal, isn't it?
mm.
So we've got this masked ball, and have you been to Venice for Carnivale? Do you,
No, I haven't, sadly. I would love to go. That's
you
definitely on my bucket
yeah,
list. I
sure.
have been to a masked ball, but it was in England, so not
Right.
quite the same. But I'm one of the things that I loved about Venice was you just walking around the streets and you suddenly come to these shops selling these beautiful, incredible masks.
Yeah.
And I wanted, I wanted to convey the atmosphere of Venice to my readers. I thought, well, that's something that has to be there. And then I thought, oh, how wonderful to have for Rose to go to a masked ball, and then of course I had to have Marietta at a masked ball as well.
All as well.
Again, that was another sort of parallel.
How did you feel when you finished this? Did you think, wow, that's a wrap? Is this your favoritist one? Would you say the most successful one?
I think whichever book I'm writing is my favourite at
Oh,
the
is
time.
it?
Because I think I get so immersed in the world of the book. I mean, I usually set my books, well, in fact, all of them are set in places that I know well.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
find that I that's important because I think it's not enough just to Google somewhere and look at a
No,
map.
no.
I think you need the sounds, the
Yeah.
sights, obviously,
Oh, absolutely.
the sense even
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. Oh,
the
you do.
water.
You really
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
When I was teaching, I mean, I don't do it now. I'm retired from teaching, but one of my students lived in Venice.
Oh, wow.
And of course, we're doing this on Zoom. And I said, "Oh, I love your And she said, "Oh, it's a palazzo." I went, "Really?" She
Wow.
said, "Yeah." She said, "I've inherited it from my
Oh,
grandmother."
how
So I
amazing.
said, Move your laptop round." So she's moving the laptop around. And she said, "If I open the window, you can see the Grand Canal just
Oh
beneath
my
the window."
goodness.
And I just thought, "Oh my God, she lives in a palazzo."
Yeah,
So, I completely get it,
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a beautiful book. It really
Oh,
is.
thank you.
So I want to ask you a couple of questions now
Sure.
regarding writing. So let's see how you fare. How do you feel about authors and pseudonyms? What's your take on that?
Well, I have to confess, Lynne Shelby is a pen name. I was advised to have a pen name when I started
Okay.
out, because in a way, we have to do a lot of promotion, and
Yeah,
you have to put yourself out there
you do.
online, and it's
Yeah,
kind of better to keep your author. Your writing stuff away from like
your
your
personal
family
stuff.
stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, as I say, my family are very, very supportive of me. I don't think they'd be very pleased if I was posting pictures of them all over, sort of, that's,
Yeah.
so yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, other people don't mind, Also,
No.
my real name is unpronounceable, so
Oh, is it? So that was okay. Good answer. Would you ever want to try and build a body of work that has connections, or is the aim to have a series of standalone books? You can just pick this one up or that up. There's not book one, book two, book three. Or would you want to do a series?
all of my books at the moment are standalone
Your
novels,
own ones,
but
yeah.
particularly, I mean, so I've got some set in romantic locations: Venice, Rome, Greece. I've got three books that are set in the world of the theatre, and characters that feature in one of those books do crop up in like
Okay.
cameo roles in the others.
Right.
But you don't need to read
No,
of
no.
them, or you don't
Yeah.
need to read them in any particular order. And I quite like that. I mean, in my own reading, I like it when I'm reading a book and a character strolls in from another book by the same author. I think that can be quite effective. I think
Mhm.
it can add to the sort of authenticity of the
Yeah,
world you're
yeah,
creating.
absolutely.
Um, I'm writing a book at the moment that, again, it is a standalone, but I'm aiming for it to be part of a series as
Right.
well. So depending on how it goes. So I
Yeah.
think you do have to be a bit conscious of, if you're going to do a series, you can't tie up too many loose ends.
No.
Like, for example, one of my books in particular, The Summer of Taking Chances. Everybody is paired off by the end, and it's wonderful. Everybody's so happy. But I suddenly thought, oh, if I wanted to do a sequel, I'd have to split somebody up, and I don't think romantic readers would really like that.
So
So
are you telling me we won't see Rose again?
we could. Oh no, we could see Rose
I
again
hope
because.
we do, Lynn.
Well, no, we could see Rose again because we've still got Gianna. What's going to happen to
Yeah,
Gianna? Maybe
yeah,
she's going to come to England. Who knows?
yeah, yeah.
Anything can happen.
You
Oh
can
no,
leave
I
it
mean,
open. Yeah.
yes, I mean that when I say, you've got to have a happy ending for the main characters, and
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
got you can have several happy endings, but I
Yeah.
think if you want a series, you've got to have some reason what for it to carry on in the next book. But I mean, there's a lot of paintings in Venice, so who knows?
Yeah, a Caravaggio theme would be quite
Oh, yes, yes, I
nice.
like Caravaggio
Yes,
actually.
I do. Yes, I do. Um, Do you read your book reviews and how do you deal with them? Do you?
Well, when I my first book came out, I read all the reviews, and I was very lucky. The first reviews were all 5-star reviews, which was fantastic. And then I had a look one day online, and there was a 1-star review, and I was, oh my goodness, this is
God.
terrible. Oh dear, awful. But funnily enough, I quite soon after that, I was at a talk at. I think it was a Romantic Novelist Association talk, and they had somebody, a blogger, I think it was, and she said, I will only give a 5-star if I think so. It's right. And she said, I would never give a 1-star. I would just wouldn't review it because I think it could be somebody else's cup of tea. She said, the only thing is, if you get a 2 or a 1-star, you need to remember that that proves your reviews are authentic, that the
Yeah,
5-star reviews are
yeah, that's a
authentic.
good
You
point.
could look at it from that point of view. But I mean, now I must confess, I only read the good reviews. I just don't read. I mean, people say, "Oh, you should read the bad ones because you might learn something that will make you improve." And I think, no, no, I can't. I
I
can't.
know. I mean, I run creative writing
Yes,
retreats here
yes,
in Italy. So I know how much blood, sweat, and
yes,
tears that
yes,
goes
yes.
into a book. So no matter what, like you say, if I thought there was going to be any problem with it, I wouldn't even say I would review it
Yes,
because,
yes,
I'm
yes,
reviewing it because it's in Italy
yes,
because I want to look at the story,
yes,
the narrative, the
yes,
style.
yes.
I would never, ever,
Mm,
ever
mm.
do that.
No,
No, I
because
wouldn't.
I mean, as you say, a lot of work goes into a book, but
Absolutely.
also just because you personally, it's not your cup of tea, there may be somebody for whom it's the best thing they've ever read.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
It's
yes,
very like art. I mean, I think three people could stand in front of a painting, you know, in an art
yes,
gallery in London. One might
yes,
like it, one would say, well, I wouldn't want it in my living room, and one
absolutely.
might be on the fence. And I do
Yes,
think it's a very it's a very
mm,
subjective thing what
yes,
people
it is.
like in books. So yeah, but yeah, I know what you mean. Um, what was your favorite childhood book and why?
Oh gosh, so many, too many to choose just
You
one.
gotta pick one.
Oh, can I not have the whole Narnia book? All of Narnia book. Okay, one Narnia book. I think my favourite childhood book was Prince Caspian, which
Okay.
I read. It's the second in the series of the Narnia books. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the first one. But I happened to I think I picked it up in a bookshop, and I read it, and it's just this amazing fantasy. 4 children get taken away to this magical land where they're actually kings and queens and there are talking animals and a prince to regain his kingdom. And it's just fabulous stuff. And of course,
You
then
know
they all
what?
come back.
If I'm in an antique shop and there's an old wardrobe in the
Yeah.
corner,
Oh, yeah.
always open it and peer in, just
Yes.
and feel the back just in
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
because you just never know. Would you do a kids' book, Lynn?
I I don't know. When my children were younger, I did tell them stories and things, but I
Um,
think it's a very different art writing for children
um,
than to actually writing a novel.
yeah.
It's you're writing to a very specific age group, and you have to get it right. You have to make sure that what you think an 8-year-old would like is actually what an 8-year-old would like. And again, as I say, I think it's a very different thing.
Market.
Yeah.
Do you hide any secrets in your books that only a few people would know about?
Not exactly. There are a few anecdotes that I've borrowed from things that have happened to people I know, but I disguise them. I think possibly some people might think, "Oh, that's something like that happened to me," but I do disguise it because I think,
Yes.
I must say, the thing that did puzzle me though was that with Dancing in the Moonlight, there's somebody in it who's not very nice, she's villainess if you like, and a couple of people said, have you based her on me? And I went, no, absolutely not. So I thought, why would you think you were based on
How to
the
win
character
friends
was
and
based on you?
influence
I thought, oh
people.
dear.
You can get a t-shirt now, can't you, that it says, "Watch what you say, you'll
Oh
be in my
yes,
next book," or something
yes,
like that.
yes, yes, you
Will
can.
you hold up your book, please? Will you hold up so that we can see yeah, it's really pretty. That's really pretty.
Oh,
She's
thank
got
you.
a lovely dress on as well, hasn't she? That's really pretty. Yeah, lovely. Um, what else was I going to ask you? With the book that I've just reviewed, what would you say was the most challenging part of writing the book?
Oh, I think making sure that everything that I wrote about Venice was accurate because I like the idea that somebody could walk around Venice with the book in their hand and oh, this is what she's talking about.
Right.
But the converse of that is if you get something wrong, there's going to be somebody who knows
Yeah.
because lots of people know Venice very well. And if you sort of say, oh, you get on this number Vaporetto, and in fact it's totally wrong, somebody will go, just thought we'd like to know, And also, if you do get things wrong, as I say, that stops the authentic feel of the
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and how much research went into the book before you actually
Oh,
a
quite
lot,
a lot
a
of that.
lot.
Probably more than most of the books I've written. I wanted to. I mean, as I say, I had did a year of studying art history, but I did read a lot about Renaissance artists, and
Right.
also researched the job of an art conservator, which I
Oh,
have to
wow.
say is absolutely fascinating. I watched
Wow.
lots of videos on YouTube.
Oh,
People are very keen to talk about their jobs, I find. And if you want to know a day in the life of an art conservator, just type that into YouTube, and loads of videos come up, which is absolutely fascinating to see exactly how they do their job. Mm.
could that have happened that there is a painting? Well, I tell you the program that me and my husband sit and watch. It's oh, the lady that does the antique show. They do this
Oh,
series about the paintings.
yes,
People just find a painting in the attic, or
yes.
they found one
Mm,
in a skip or something,
mm,
so they have to validate it.
yeah.
The idea that there might just be a painting floating around somewhere
Yes.
there is a real, genuine Caravaggio or
Oh,
who,
absolutely. I mean, it has happened. People have found paintings in
yeah,
their attics, literally, and taken them to an auctioneer's, and they've gone, "Oh my goodness, yes, it's been
yeah,
worth millions."
it's real,
I
it's
think.
authentic, yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
and it's
Yeah,
real, yeah.
yeah. I think there was actually a Leonardo da Vinci that was discovered not that long ago. Was Oh, several years
It's
ago,
never
but
me, Lynn, that discovers these paintings in skips and car
yeah,
boot sales. It's
yeah.
never me for some reason. Are any of the characters based on real people? Is Rose just somewhere in your imagining?
No,
Because she's a sweet girl, isn't
oh, I
she?
do. I'm very fond of Rose.
She's
No,
quite
that
sensitive.
yes, she is. She is. But no, I don't base the characters on my characters on anyone that I actually know. No, Rose just rocked up, with her paintbrush, and Luca just rocked up, and then suddenly he sort of had a sister there, and that's what happens. I find the characters just sort of appear. I mean, they
Yeah,
must come from somewhere. Maybe it's people I've met years ago or something. But yeah, no, they just rock up, and then I do think about them, and I think, oh well, if she's an art conservator, what was her background be? And
yeah,
not that everything I know about her or any of the other characters makes it into the book, but if I've got it's all in the back of my mind
yeah,
while I'm
yeah.
writing. So if I want to know how she would react to something, she would react because of this and that would sort of tell me what she would do.
I picked out a lovely quote at the end. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Have I still found it? Um, at the end, we've got the mass ball, as we've
Yeah,
mentioned at the Palazzo, which showcases the Casarini
Mm.
collection of restored paintings, which is beautiful. And Rose has finished the restoration. And the only way anyone's ever described it is the young woman in the blue dress. I
Yes,
mean, that's all
yes,
that they
yeah.
knew. My gaze travel, and she's finished it now. So we're looking at Marietta in all her glory. My gaze traveled over Marietta's elaborate hairstyle, an astonishingly detailed embroidery around her neckline. The varnish had really brought out the brilliance of colors used by the unknown artist. The white clouds in a blue sky, the hazy, pastel-colored mountains in the background, the gleam of Marietta's gold necklace, the slashes of snowy white on her blue velvet sleeves, and the lighter blue of her satin skirts, which pooled, I love that, which pooled about her feet in shining folds. And then there was the deep red of the rose catching the eye of everyone who looked at the picture. Wow. You must be so proud of that. I wish I could write something like that.
Oh, thank you.
That's so lovely. It's so
Oh, thank you.
lovely because we get to the end and she's restored it. That's what she
Yeah.
does,
Yes,
and we see it in all the glory. And when Rose goes to the masked ball, she's looking for an outfit to wear that is very, very similar to
yes,
Marietta's dress. So
yes.
it all comes together so nicely at the end.
Well, that's what I wanted it to do. Yes, as I say, I
You should be
tried.
an author, Lynn. You should be an author.
Oh, maybe I'll think about that. But I wanted to weave the two stories together throughout, and I hope that's what it comes across. And as I say before, the parallels between them,
Yeah.
and I wanted, everybody. I wanted obviously Rose and Luca to get the happy ending, but I
Yes.
wanted Marietta to get the happy ending as well. So yes, I don't think
Yes.
I'm giving away any spoilers by saying she does.
No, no, it's not easy not to sometimes.
Mm.
Other books, Dancing in the Moonlight, The
Yes,
Summer of Taking Chances, Love on Location, Rome for the Summer, There She Goes, the one that I want, Meet Me in Paris. If anyone wants to purchase books, they can do so through the purchase links through Amazon. You've got your website, which is
yes, I do. Yes,
lynnShelby.com,
that's right.
so
Yes,
people can find you on your
yes,
website. So
yeah.
please, please stay in touch.
Oh, I
And,
will.
if there's another one going, think of me
Oh,
because
I certainly will, Wendy. Yes.
keep trying to say to people I interview, please do one in Abruzzo. Please come to
No,
Abruzzo.
I might do some research into a Brit.
I mean, it's a region that, I mean, anything could have happened here because it's a region that's so mountainous that
Yes,
with
yeah,
the mountains and the sea,
yeah.
it's a region that nobody ever left and nobody ever came for centuries.
Well, it's interesting in
It's
itself, though, isn't it?
isolated. It's only now that we've got a Ryanair airport there, and
Okay.
from
Yeah,
Stansted to
yeah,
Pescara, and we've got the motorway now up and
yeah,
down across to Rome.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the people around me are still speaking dialect.
Oh, are they? Oh,
They are.
that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, because obviously Venice has a dialect as
Yeah,
well, doesn't
yeah.
it?
I
And
didn't know that. I
well,
did not
I'd
know
heard
that.
about it, but I had to
Yeah.
sort of look it up and check in it. But funnily enough, I got an Italian friend to check the Italian in the book because I don't speak Italian, unfortunately. It's a beautiful language,
Yes, I
but
know.
I don't speak. So I got my friend to check it, and she said, "Oh no, this is it." She said, "Oh, by the way, I'm from Rome, so my Italian is going to be very
Right,
different to a Venetian,
right,
But she said, but I
right.
don't think it's going to be that different. I found that was very interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Mm.
But despite my pleas, no one ever seems to want to come out to Abruzzo to
Oh,
set a novel.
mind you, mind you, maybe that's a good thing. You don't want to be overrun with tourists.
Well, no, we don't, Lynn. I mean,
No, no.
Abruzzo's the secret. Shh. So we
Yeah.
don't really tell anybody. But can I thank you for your time this evening? It's been
Oh, my
so
pleasure.
lovely. It's been so lovely to talk to you. It
Oh,
puts everything into perspective from the author's point of view. And I keep telling everybody and people that come on the writing retreats, listen to authors, listen to them speak,
Mm.
because you will get so much
Yes,
information,
yes, yes,
from how they do it, their writing process. Are they
yes,
up at 4 every morning? Are they, how do they do it? You
yes,
learn so much.
yes. So
So,
I have learned so much from other authors. And I
yeah,
have to say, I don't know, maybe every author is like this, but romantic novelists are the most generous people I
yeah,
know with their
yeah,
experience and their knowledge. Absolutely
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you again for chatting to me. What a wonderful book. It really
Thank
is.
you.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's been
Well,
great. I've really enjoyed
I'll
it.
upload everything this weekend. We go for the YouTube video and then we'll go
Right.
for the audio on
Okay.
Substack. So we try and cover all angles really. And then I'll put it out there on my social media so
Brilliant.
that,
Yeah.
it just keeps it in people's imaginations. I want to do, I mean, my husband's dyslexic and he wanted
Oh,
to write and he can't basically because he can't spell, but he
yeah.
still has an imagination to write stories.
Yeah.
And that made me think, oh, well, I want to help people like him. I want to help anybody that wants to write, but is
Yes.
not quite
Yeah.
sure how. And I
Yeah.
think anyone listening to your story, enter a writing competition. It could be you.
Yes.
It
And
is,
I do think sometimes aspiring authors they think, oh, it's insurmountable. I'm never going to get there. But what I would say is you only need one yes. And if
yes,
your book lands on the desk of an
yeah,
agent or a publisher that is
yeah,
that it suits, that's
yeah,
it. That's all you need. One
yeah,
person. That's all you need.
absolutely,
Or
absolutely.
you can self-publish because there's a lot to be said for that as well. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing that.
But since I've been doing this, I've only ever come across one other lady who was a headmistress in a school, and she always wanted to write.
Yeah.
And she started writing and never told anyone.
Yeah.
And there was a writing competition. Can't believe
Oh,
it. Someone was doing, with a publisher.
yes. Yeah.
So she sent it off.
Mm.
She'd never even told anyone she was
Oh,
doing
wow.
this. And she won it and got a contract.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
it is possible.
It does
Anything is
happen.
possible. With a good wind behind you and a
Yes,
good
yes,
product,
yes,
you can
yes,
make it. And you're evidence of that. You are proof of that. You really are.
absolutely.
So, yeah, think of me next book. If you do a book blog tour, I'll be on it.
Okay, thank you. That's really good to know, Wendy. I'm so glad you enjoyed Venice Summer.
I did. I loved it. I loved it. I want to go and catch a vaporetto and just, go and get an ice cream. But anyway, thank you so much for your time.
My
And
pleasure.
I'll let you go. So here's to you. Saluti.
Oh, thank you very much.
Ciao.